and welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Noah, and in this video I am going to share with you some of the biggest financial mistakes that males and females tend to make. I'm going to share some personal examples that I have personally come across within my financial service. I do hope you can take something away from this video, and with that being said, let's get right into it. Okay, so like I said, this video is all about some of the biggest financial mistakes that males and females tend to make that I have personally come across. So I think it's fair to start with the females, right? Ladies first in this example. And one of the things that I see very commonly amongst different females that I've worked with, where they generally just tend to spend probably more money than they should, are wearable goods, right? Fashion items, I think, is a good way to put it, right? So this includes makeup, handbags, shoes, jackets, dresses, clothes, shoes. I don't know if I mentioned that. Every girl probably has more shoes than they need, but this is what I see a lot of: thousands and thousands of dollars, in some cases every single year, spent on just these type of things that you wear, right? And to a certain extent, I think we should have, enough clothes and, enough styles and so on. Certainly, you can see in the back, right? All of my clothes on a rack, right? Just displaying it for you so you can see all my clothes. But overall, I do think that the amount of money that they'll spend on bags, for example, right? Some of these designer bags that a lot of girls really want, they really want to have it on them. It makes them feel a specific way or whatever it is. They're like thousands of dollars, right? To hold a phone, a pack of gum, a pen, maybe, and maybe their vape stick, not much, right? These things don't do that much, and they cost, enough, the money that these individuals should be investing, every single year. And to be candid, I don't believe that these types of purchases, right? These fashion purchases really do much as an individual. I don't think that these augment personalities. They don't. And I've said this in previous videos too. I just made a video on why I personally believe luxury goods, right, luxury items and so on, are kind of a scam. But it's the same thing, right? Where these items, despite their price tag and despite their name, right, the Louis Vuitton, the Gucci, whatever it is, Prada, they don't make you any more of a person, right? They don't make you cooler. They don't make you, in some cases, they don't really make you look better. And that's my personal opinion, right? I'm entitled to that. But in some cases, I've seen people with all of these things, and it doesn't augment their look, despite what they might think. And this is just an honest opinion of mine, but it's true, right? I think a lot of people would agree that these items, they're unbelievably expensive. They spend a lot of money on these big ticket items, and they're not what's actually important in life, right? So the money could be saved. Save your money. Don't go spending it all on designer goods, designer shoes, designer this, spending thousands and thousands of dollars every single year on clothes you just wear a handful of times. Now, if it's something that you're going to wear every single day, then that might be worth it, right? But generally speaking, for the females at least, I see a lot of fashion items that are just very, very expensive. And after conversing with the girls, going back and forth on these items, the general consensus is yeah, I can live without it. It was an impulse buy, or I wanted to have it for a look, or and that's why it's fashion, right? But the reality of it is that it doesn't matter as much as people think. Now, of course, the guys, right? We cannot forget about what kind of dumb decisions guys make. And the main one that I generally tend to come across are purchases that really have already been made. And this is going to be a little bit interesting when I start going on about it. But the number one purchase that I see guys making that I think sets them behind and are probably bad investments, bad purchases, are vehicles. I think as guys, when they get into their mid-20s, late 20s, which is the biggest group that I generally tend to work with, a lot of guys want to have a specific car, right? They have a real job now where they're making, quote unquote, real money. So they want the BMW, they want the Tesla, right? Teslas are a big one that I generally tend to see a lot here in Austin. And these vehicles are by no means cheap, right? Especially if you want to get it new, despite what, bad press getting new cars, I think get. People want it new, right? They want to be the first owner. They want it to be theirs, and they're willing to fork over the cash for it. But what ends up happening is that now they're stuck with, a $400, $500 car payment, not even including insurance and gas and other maintenance that comes up with it, right? Generally speaking, there's warranties on cars, but other maintenance you have to pay for. So then then these individuals, these guys become stuck with the car payment and all these other expenses that would come up. And for the future, this kind of puts them behind, right? Because if they would have opted for potentially just a used car, right, and maybe they cut their car payment down in half, that leftover money could be saved, could be invested, could be spent in other ways. But now when they have this big endeavor, right, this new car with all these payments on, if something else would come up, right, if some, and this is actually the case. This is generally what tends to happen. Expenses come up when we least expect them to and are least ready for them. Where does that money come from, right? If they have all their money tied up between rent is already relatively expensive. Eating is already pretty expensive. Then you have a car on top of that. And if something else would come up, there's your money, right? So this is something that it's very trendy, right? I see it very, very frequently where a lot of individuals get their first car and then they look back and say, yeah, it was probably a mistake. They don't want to sell it because they like it and they're going to lose money and on and on and on. But they could have avoided all of the money and all of the headache that would eventually come their way if they would have made potentially a smarter decision early on in the car buying process. So the one thing that these two examples between males and females have in common is that it's rooted in, I think, a perception thing, right? For females, they want the fashion stuff because they want to go outside with an aura around them, right? They want to be looked at a specific way. They want to feel a specific way, and they believe that these accessories are going to do that. The same thing goes, I think, obviously not in all cases, but in a lot, guys want to be perceived a specific way, so they opt in for an expensive car, and evidently, these decisions on both ends, males and females, can bite you in the butt in the long run, because the money that you could have been saving, could have been investing had you opted out of them, right, or taken the cheaper alternative, isn't going to be there, right? You'll be stuck with these items that, at least for females, that you're maybe not using, that were thousands of dollars at the time, and for guys it's the same thing, right? Where cars by nature are depreciating assets. There's no investments being made, despite the fact that you have this this asset. The money that you could have saved by opting, like I said, opting out of these types of expensive endeavors in total, or opting for the less expensive option, are evidently going to lead to a more successful financial future. So there you go. Those are a few of my thoughts on some of the worst financial decisions that females and males tend to make. But of course, these are my own personal opinions on this matter that have developed through working with different clients and so on. But I do want to hear from you. What do you think are some other examples of expenses that males and females tend to make that are likely not a good financial decision? Please let me know in the comment section below. I would love to hear what you guys can come up with. And of course, if you've made it this far in the video today, I want to thank you so much for your time. I really do appreciate it. As always, I hope you were able to take something away from this video today. And as always, happy financing.